dissent. A Glastonbury spokesman said the security staff had acted the way they did out of concerns for health and safety. Well, as Glastonbury goers wallow in their traditional sea of mud, beyond the traditional festival scene, this could be shaping up to be another summer of love. Nostalgic clubbers have eagerly proclaimed the return of the rave and the trance-like form of music associated with rave culture. But it's not just an echo of the past. As our culture editor Matthew Kane reports, a new generation, many of whom weren't even born at the time, are embracing the look and attitude of that late 80s subculture for the first time. And we must warn you, if you're likely to be affected, this report contains strobe lighting from the beginning.
This might look like a scene from 1991. In fact, it happened this weekend, because rave is back. Rave first took off in Britain at the end of the 1980s. News of a one-off event would spread via word of mouth, and ravers would meet in car parks before travelling in convoy to the destination, typically a field or an empty warehouse. White gloves, strobe lighting and t-shirts with smiley faces were all associated with rave, but it was also associated with drug taking, primarily ecstasy and acid, and as a result the government passed the Criminal Justice Act to ban rave. But now rave is making a comeback, and as with many cultural revivals, this comeback is partly fueled by nostalgia.
I suppose there are parallels between the fact that there are bands and acts that are coming back together like there is in pop. But I suppose it's just how music's always seen. There's a certain reciprocal nature in people looking back at how things were and remembering how good times used to be.
Later this year, the film Weekender, set against the backdrop of the rave scene of 1990, will be released in cinemas. And DJs and producers Chase and Status have just had a major hit with this song, Blind Faith. The video was designed to recreate the emotions associated with the original rave scene.
A lot of people, when they first went to a rave, or might have been gestured a pill or something, and suddenly had this like epiphany, like, this is me, this is what I want to do. Like, that's fundamentally why I'm sitting here now, to be honest. And you just have that feeling again, like belonging.
But as you might be able to tell from the crowd behind me, the recent rebirth of rave isn't fueled by nostalgia alone. As well as the original rave generation, a whole new generation is discovering the sound and spirit of rave for the first time. How would you sum up the spirit of the rave scene?
Happy and lively.
It's great, you know, you can just dance and just be yourself and not worry about what other people think, and it's all about letting the music take you to where you want to go.
The last time rave was popular, a Tory government was in power and there were violent protests on the streets. It's a parallel that isn't lost on Chase and Status.
It might not be coincidental that during sort of quite a bleak economic period, rave music is coming back, which is often associated with, you know, escapism, euphoria, stuff like that.
But something has changed enormously over the last 20 years. Perhaps the biggest change has been the rise of the internet and mobile phones.
Together, they make it practically impossible to keep the whereabouts of a one-off rave secret, and therefore equally impossible to recreate the feeling amongst ravers as being in a special, privileged group. Today's ravers have to make do with regular rave-themed nights in clubs like this. Matthew Kane, Channel 4 News in South London.
And you can read more about Glastonbury and debate whether sets like Beyonce show it strayed too far from its roots.